Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing really very well. So I hope everyone is doing well. Let me just see if the audio is clear. Good evening, good evening. Hi everyone, I hope everyone is. So I know I am a bit dark out here, okay, because I'm right now at the Hyderabad, so there's a problem of light. So I had the choice, either you can see the screen and the text brightly or me. So I think more important is the text. Yesterday I could not take a session, I was not well, so I could not take the session. So I think around for 3 days till Monday or maximum till Tuesday we are in Hyderabad, then I will come back to Bangalore, and then the proper lights and everything will start functioning out there. So right now just bear with me for a couple of days till the time I am taking session at the Hyderabad branch. So welcome everyone on 9th of January. Some important news have come, we'll cover that today. So OGP 2026 batch is starting on 2nd January. It has already started, and you can take the admission in the OGP batch, which includes GS, CSAT, essay under the guidance of Vinay Sir, who is founder and director of Insights IAS. And you can also call on this number 80 69 40 5205 for all details. Similarly, one more program is also going on, Secure Personal Guidance SPG 2025. This program is also available in online and offline mode. You can also scan this for all the details. This program includes 1 month plan, 2 month plan, 3 month plan. This is basically related to your mains preparation, for your questions preparation. So you can also take enrollment in this program if you are looking specifically for your mains guidance. And for all details, you can call on the number 80 69 40 52. If you don't have the opportunity or you don't have the strength to fly, whatever your strength is remaining, then run. If you are not able to run, then you should walk. If you are not able to walk, then you should crawl. But whatever you do, you need to move forward. It is important in life that whatever the situation may be, even when the situation is against you, it is very important for all of us to keep moving forward. If we don't move from one place to the next place, don't move forward, basically you will become a tree, okay? You will be at one single place. And if you have remembered that, I've heard about this, I think in a YouTube video I've seen it there. People who are stuck at one place, they are left behind, and these big thick trees are the ones which are cut first. So it is important that you continuously change and adapt, and in no way I am discounting what tree does. This is just an example to tell you that change is the most important thing, and dynamically we need to evolve, keep moving forward, embrace the failures, embrace the success, and keep the journey ahead. Okay, so with this positive thought, let's move towards the important news for today. First is data rules to be rolled out by mid-2025. This is related to the personal data. This was announced by Ashwani Vaishnav, who is heading the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So MEETI, India ready to support Maldives and defense preparedness. So Maldivian Defense Minister is in New Delhi. He recently met the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. So again, India has spoken about defense preparedness. I think I've categorically told you many times that there are certain things, artificial intelligence, make in India, financial technology, UPI, defense preparedness, education, sustainable development. These are certain 5 to 7 things which most of the ministers of Modi government or the NDA government keep talking, or even Prime Minister talks about it. So this is a certain things which keeps evolving. So next is India-Taliban talks, region in flux. Now this has come a surprise to many people, though if you have been following geopolitics, India have been in touch with the Afghan Taliban for a long period of time. Afghanistan and people in Afghanistan see India as a very friendly country. If you go on YouTube and you see normal videos of Afghanistani people, Afghan Taliban, and for that matter even Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, they also feel that India's contribution of more than $3 billion in Afghanistan is very helpful, and they see India as a very important partner. The challenge to India in Afghanistan relationship is coming from China, not Pakistan. Pakistan right now is being butchered by Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. They are killing Pakistani army like anything. So there was a saying of Hillary Clinton that if you think that you will put a snake in your backyard and it will only bite the neighbors, then you are wrong. This is that snake which is called Taliban. This is that snake called terrorism, and Pakistan thought that they will use this terrorism and it will bite India. But eventually today it is biting Pakistan, and that is something they need to realize. Pakistan need to realize the peace to Pakistan. The peace to Pakistan, the path to peace to Pakistan, the way to this peace to Pakistan will go from India and specifically Kashmir. What you sow is what you reap, and you sow terrorism and today you are reaping terrorism also. This is something which Pakistan needs to understand. And in this current context, India has been very smart diplomatically that they have established relationship with Taliban. Please understand, India has not recognized Taliban or the Taliban government, but still they are in very good terms with the Taliban. Okay, next is UPSC prelims impact, Southern California wildfires 2025. So this is in news, Southern Californian fires. It should not happen in this winter, but it is happening. This also shows that a prelims perspective come, important wind we will talk about, and most importantly, the climate change is also affecting. This third news, India-Taliban and UPSC prelims, I have picked it up from Indian Express, and first two news are from The Hindu. Finally, in the editorial, we have China's long game in Africa. Very, very smartly China is playing, and they are creating new political leaders, the future political leaders of African nation, which will come through Chinese point of view of education and Chinese point of view of political leadership. So China is strategically placing its kings and queens like it is placed in a chessboard. Very smartly they are doing it. So these are some of the important news which we would be covering. So first news is data rules to be rolled out by mid-2025. This is said by Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, which in short is also known as METI. And the person who is heading is Ashwani Vaishnav. So law has been drafted in a way to ensure functioning and autonomy of the board. So finally, good news coming on this personal data. Second important thing he has also told is that when it comes to semiconductor or when it comes to hardware, we are focusing on indigenization. Everywhere you go in India today, everybody is talking about indigenization, specifically be it state government or central government, which is a very, very good step. So union government plans to finalize and notify digital personal data protection rules by mid-2025 following consultation with stakeholders. So a little bit of stakeholder consultation would be taken, but don't expect that much of the rules would be changed. Feedback would be taken from stakeholders, but I think around mid-Feb the date has been given, but more or less nothing major would change. Union Minister of Electronics and Information Technology METI announces the timeline and shared insights on readiness of stakeholders and the provision of the draft rules. So let's see what eventually comes out. So the government is currently accepting stakeholder comments till, that is what I said, till mid-Feb, 18th February 2025. So we have approximately around 1 month, more than a month. So I think around 40 days you can say. So final notification expected to be in mid-25. So that could be around May-June time, June-July time, with only minor tweaks anticipated based on feedback. So no major changes would be coming. Okay, don't expect it. Major changes will be coming. Okay, so not major changes are expected. So implementation period, a maximum of 2 years has been provided to ensure smooth compliance for all categories of data fiduciaries. Now this can be a very good question. Who is a data fiduciary? This can be a good prelims question. So a data fiduciary can be a person, it can be a company, it can be an organization that determines how personal data is processed. So data fiduciary can be a person also, it can be a company also, it can be an organization also. How data is being processed, how that processed data can be used. That is what data fiduciaries are here. So maximum of 2 years has been given, and it would be depending on major firms and minor firms. Minor firms will be given more time to acclimatize with the new guidelines. So executive consultation will reveal general approval for provision Major firms are prepared to comply quickly, obviously, because they have the wherewithal, they have the structures, and they have the entire mammoth of organization to comply with it. When it comes to smaller entities, they might get more additional time for adherence to these personal data laws. So law emphasizes autonomy of Personal Data Protection Board of India. So this Personal Data Protection Board of India will become the topmost body related to personal law, related to your personal data. So from privacy point of view, very important steps being taken, ensuring independent function. Now implementation will follow a digital first approach. It would mirror the existing model like grievance appellate committee under IT rules 2021. So it would be following a model which has already been implemented. A top-notch body is being created for this particular part, which would be looking into this personal data protection. Again, the focus on electronics manufacturing. So basically, Ashwani Vaishnav had spoken about two major things. One was about this personal data protection and draft and the feedback which would be taken from stakeholders till 18th February. And the law would be expected somewhere about in the mid of 2025. And second important thing he was talking about, focus on electronics manufacturing, incentivizing component manufacturing. That means Indian startups and Indian companies which are working in this, which are working towards indigenization, focus would be on that. Minister highlighted governments to promote and incentivize manufacturing of electronic components. Okay. Good morning everyone. Good evening. Sorry, good evening. So the initiatives are in addition to existing schemes targeting IT, hardware and semiconductor production. So the conclusion is very straightforward. Digital personal data protection rule marks a significant step towards safeguarding of personal data. See, in the age of Meta, in the age of AI, in the age of Instagram, it is very important to conserve and preserve both your personal data. For rather not both, focusing on your personal data is very important, because your personal data can be stolen, and today in the age of this digital arrest and cyber frauds, your data can be used against you. It can be used for cyber frauds, it can be used for cyber espionage, it can be used, to put an API in your system, that is advanced persistent threat, APT in your system. So multiple things can be done once they have your personal data. Today we are talking about 5th and 6th generation warfare, in which 6th generation warfare focuses on manipulating time, manipulating space, manipulating your thought process. So if somebody gets your personal data, a lot of manipulation can happen. They might get your personal data, they might can get access to your passwords and data. It can be a phishing exercise which is done against you. So in this context, this is a very important law, and the government working on it is a very important step. So safeguarding personal data, structured implementation and timeline focuses on stakeholder readiness. So stakeholders' feedback would also be considered. And finally, initiatives in electronics manufacturing highlights India's commitment to boost domestic production. See, again and again I have told you in these classes, it's very important that we focus on domestic production, make in India, indigenization. If we want to move towards from developing to developed phase, then only you can move towards a developed phase also. So let's move to the next important news. The next important news is India ready to support Maldives in enhancing its defense preparedness, says Rajnath Singh. So Defense Minister Rajnath Singh is meeting the Maldivian counterpart, that is Mohammad Ghassan Mehmoon. Mohammad Ghassan Mehmoon, who is in New Delhi. So again, defense preparedness. If you see, most of the country which we are meeting, we met Kuwait also, the Prime Minister last year, in this month of December. After 43 years, our Prime Minister was visiting Kuwait. We had covered that in Daily Decodes. And again, we were talking about defense preparedness, invest in our defense industry. And if you remember that in Kuwait, they have a sovereign fund of more than $920 billion, close to $1 trillion. If I'm correct, it's around $924 or $926 billion, which we had covered. So we are going to many countries and we are asking that you should invest in our defense industry. In the case of Maldives, we are talking about more defense integration between the two countries. And please remember, this is the same Maldivian country. This is the same Maldives. Okay, this is the same Maldives which had come with India Out campaign. Okay, that Mohammad Musi was the same person who came with India Out campaign when he became the president. Traditionally and conventionally, the first visit, international visit of a Maldivian president is to India. But he did not come to India, rather he went to Turkey. He was very close to China. But later he realized that India is a very important partner from the point of view of credit, from the point of view of actually helping, from the point of view of actually following the neighborhood first policy, and hence they realized their mistakes and they came back to India. And India did not, even when Maldives was giving wrong statements or negative statements against India, Indian diplomacy is mature. They did not they did not give any rebuttal on it. Same policy we are following with Bangladesh also. Let's see when Bangladesh will understand this. I think within 1 to 2 months Bangladesh should understand that they are just trying to be very negative with India. India is a very steadfast partner of Bangladesh. Sooner they realize, better it is. Otherwise, after the coming of Trump, they will realize it even faster. So India reaffirmed its commitment to assisting the Maldives in strengthening its defense capabilities during talks between Defense Minister and Maldivian Minister. Engagement aligns with India's neighborhood first policy, that India first tries to help neighbors. It is not like China's policy. China is first China policy, then they'll think about neighbor. If China is investing 10 rupees in your country, they will make sure they get a 1000 rupees profit. On the other hand, India might invest 60 and if get back 40, they are still very happy about it. And India is not an expeditionary country unlike China, which is recently again entered the exclusive economic zone of Philippines with a massive vessel and tried to dissuade and tried to frighten the Philippines naval vessels. So the engagement aligns with India's neighborhood first policy and the vision of Sagar, security and growth for all in the region. We are talking about security and growth for all in the region. On the other side, China talks about growth for only China in the region. As per them, South China Sea belongs to China only. Earlier it was 11-line, now it is 9-line. So this is the thought process of China, which wants to control the sea lanes of communication, unlike India. Okay, so India's defense assistance to Maldives. India handed over defense equipment and stored. Just remember, this was the same Maldives which was saying that Indian defense personnel should go from here. Indian defense equipment should go from here. And now they are welcoming our equipment and everything. This is how a country takes U-turn, and this is how they even realize their mistake. Okay. So in this context, moving further, so pledge support for enhancing Maldives National Defense Forces capabilities through provisioning of defense platform, assets and training of Maldivian officers. It can be at the defense academies of India, it can be at Indian Military Academy or the other academies. Strengthening bilateral cooperation, comprehensive review of bilateral defense and security cooperation, and economic and maritime security partnership. So overall, holistically, every kind of defense cooperation, defense preparedness, training their defense personnel, everything would be taken care in these kind of agreements between India and Maldives. Okay, and also there was a discussion on the Ekta Harbour project. This is a very important project. Discussion includes on Ekta Harbour project for MNDF, that is Maldivians Coast Guard, a key Indian grant in aid initiative, and then foundation for the Coast Guard Harbour and Repair Facility at Sifaparu was laid, which was laid in 2023 by then Maldivian Defence Minister and Defence Minister of India, Rajnath Singh. Acknowledged, now the Maldivian Defence Minister also acknowledged the contribution of India, and India being the first responder to Maldives' need. Remember when they, Maldives is also, they are also looking money from IMF bailout money. So they are also struggling with money and they needed line of credit, and the line of credit again was given by India. Some of the credit, the line of credit which was like a loan, it was converted into grant. Same thing we are trying to do with Sri Lankans also. So we might not be investing heavily like China, but if China is investing heavily, those are not grants, those are not aid, that is a loan. And if you are not able to give back the loan money or the main principal amount or the interest, then you have to give land to China, unlike India. Okay, so symbolic gestures. Maldivian minister also laid a wreath at National War Memorial in Delhi, that is in New Delhi. He was accorded a tri-services guard. So basically, there is a re-establishment, restructuring of the relationship. A little bit of, little bit of gap had come when Maldivian new president had come, but now relationship seems to be on the track. With Sri Lanka also it seems to be on the track, though Anura Dissanayake is again visiting China again. He already had one visit to China. He is again visiting to China again. Let's see what is Anura Dissanayake up to. See, the basically problem is that Sri Lanka also needs a lot of money. So probably going to Sri Lanka, probably going to China for more money and funds. The problem is that China will give you funds, but the funds come with attachment of lot of condition. That is like that asterisk condition. An asterisk condition is that we will give you this money, either you give a port, either you allow our research vessels, which are basically intelligence vessels, to snoop and do surveillance on India. All these asterisk condition comes. So we need to put a very important vigil, an important watchful eye over what Anura Dissanayake visit would be. Okay, so why I am talking about Anura Dissanayake? Because Sri Lanka, Maldives towards south, so you have to keep an important eye over them. So the conclusion, the talks underscores India's strategic emphasis on maintaining strong ties with Maldives. And India is a very mature country. We are not like Bangladesh and Pakistan. We think before we speak. Unlike Bangladesh, or let's not even talk about Pakistan, it's quite useless to talk about them. They used to be the best friends of Afghanistan. Today Afghanistan, what Afghanistan is doing with them, you already know. Okay, we have covered that in Daily Decodes also. So defense cooperation aligns with India's vision of secure and prosperous Indian Ocean region, and this strategic partnership is very important for India as well as Maldives also. Okay, now let's move towards the next important news, that is India-Taliban talks, region in flux, 5 reasons behind Delhi decisions to engage in Kabul, Indian Express news. And this photo has gone viral. This photo has gone viral, and many geopolitical experts used to make fun of this government that that when the when the Afghan Taliban came, so the ISI head and the Pakistan were the first one to reach to them, and Indians didn't reach to them. Now today you see in 2025 the entire reality has changed. The same Afghan Taliban and then the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, they have they are now against Pakistan, and they are very pro-India. And rather Afghan Taliban is also very pro-China. They have also met Xi Jinping. And this also is a kind of victory of Indian diplomacy also. Obviously, Afghan Taliban has a lot of issues related to women and their rights, but it's a victory in the terms of the geopolitical shift. Today, same Afghanistan and people of Afghanistan who at one point of time supported Pakistan, they hate Pakistan, they are vengeful against them, and they support India. They understand the importance of the $3 billion which India has invested in Afghanistan in infrastructure creation. And this is not only Afghanistan people, Afghan Taliban understand it, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan understands it, that even the terrorist groups understands the contribution of India. And just remember, this was the same Taliban which helped, when the IC-814 hijack happened and the plane was taken. The plane was taken in Kandahar, Afghanistan it was taken, and same Taliban group was helping Pakistan. Now same Taliban is against Pakistan. So again, when I started this lecture, I told you that if you are rearing a snake and thinking it will only bite the neighbors, you, my dear friend, are terribly wrong. It will eventually bite you, and this is the same thing Pakistan is suffering today. So from the from the left side of Pakistan, now they are being butchered by Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is killing so many of the army personals of Pakistan. This was the same Pakistani army, this was the same Pakistani ISI who helped in creation of Taliban, who gave them training, who gave them weapons, and same Taliban is killing them today. Because if you thought that you will sow terrorism and you will not reap terrorism, my dear friend, it does not work like that. Same thing is happening with Pakistan today. It's a very different situation for Pakistan and a very tough one. Okay. But for India, it seems to be very good. Afghan Taliban seems to be in very good terms with India. They understand the importance of India without India officially recognizing them. Pakistan has officially recognized them also, but still things and cards have changed. So India-Taliban meeting happened. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, he is the same Foreign Secretary who was in November in Bangladesh to meet the Bangladesh entire counterpart. We had also discussed that in Daily Decodes. Now we are discussing this image has gone viral because many geopolitical experts were making fun of the Indian government that Pakistan had recognized and Indian government was not talking to Taliban. My dear friend, you need to realize that behind camera, behind curtains, Indian diplomacy is working, and this is one of the important achievements of them, that Afghanistan today is pro-India. And second important thing, as per many experts, obviously this is told by newspaper reports and sources, that India might be using the Taliban to kill many important Pakistani terrorists who were trying to enter India or do attack in India. So this is also some of the videos and some of the reports have told. Again, I am not verifying it. As per some of the reports, I am saying it again. Okay. So the meeting happened at Dubai, marking a significant diplomatic engagement. This also focusing safeguards India's national security, economic interest, because Afghan Taliban, why India is meeting them? Because in Afghan Taliban or Tehrik-e-Taliban, specifically, see, Afghan Taliban is the one which is ruling that Taliban area. On the outskirts, there is a terror group which is called Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is also in relationship with Afghan Taliban. So these two are separate groups. These two are separate groups. Afghan Taliban is the current one which has that government in Taliban, which has that government in Afghanistan, and Tehrik-e-Taliban is that militant group. But still, they have that brotherly kind of relationship. So, most importantly, be it Tehrik-e-Taliban or Afghan Taliban, there is not a single terror group which is against India. So that also is one of the major thing that India is talking to them. So economic interest without granting, we have not given them any official recognition. The meeting comes amid regional instability involving Pakistan, Iran, Russia, China and the United States. We will understand one by one. Pakistan, I have already told you what they are going through. Even in the previous Daily Decodes, I had covered it. So ensuring that no anti-India terrorist group operates from Afghan soil. Exactly. Actually, no one is operating. Rather, Tehrik-e-Taliban and Afghan Taliban has been used to dismantle the Pakistani terrorist network. So that is a big victory for India. Taliban's ongoing fight against the Islamic State, Khorasan province, aligns with India's security concerns because India is also against the Islamic State. Taliban is also against the Islamic State, and this Taliban is also against Pakistani-based militant groups. So all in all, it is currently working in our favor. For how many days that will work in our favor, only time will tell. But strategically, it's a superb step taken by, wonderful step taken by the Indian diplomacy as of now. So Pakistan currently, its strained relationship with Pakistan and Taliban, especially after the Pakistan airstrikes in Afghanistan. And what a wonderful step was taken by Indian diplomacy, that they also, Ministry of External Affairs also came with their printed news. It basically, they said in news that, in their statement, that the attack which was done by the Pakistan airstrikes in Afghanistan killing civilians, that was not correct. And this has also supported the Afghan Taliban, that, because Afghan Taliban said that you said that Pakistani airstrikes would be on Tehrik-e-Taliban. It was not on Tehrik-e-Taliban. Those airstrikes killed a lot of women and children. And this was Afghan Taliban saying that this was a wrong attack by you. And same as said by India also. So Pakistan airstrikes in Afghanistan offer India an opportunity to counter Islamabad influence, and we are using it. This is a very important step. Many times these kind of opportunities have come in the past, but India did not use it. But this time India is using it. So that is a wonderful step which has been taken. Now Iran, the challenge with the Iran is that Iran is again for, Iran might not, Iran maybe wanted, Iran may be interested in Afghanistan, but again, they are having their own internal struggles. First of all, Israel has broken the back of Iran. They have broken axis of resistance. They have broken Houthis. They have broken Hezbollah. Hezbollah is north of Litani River. They have broken Hamas. And with the latest news which is coming, I think yesterday there was a news that Joe Biden is thinking about, destroying the nuclear installations of Iran. And maybe Joe Biden does not go ahead with it because his tenure is getting ended on 20th of January, and 20th of January, Donald Trump would be taking over the power. But Donald Trump might go ahead with it. See, if you talk about uranium enrichment, once the uranium enrichment crosses 90%, then you get a weapons grade uranium. Now, as per the Iran-US nuclear deal or that JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or Iran nuclear deal, the uranium enrichment should have been around less than 5 or 10%. But by now, the enrichment of uranium done by Iran has crossed 60%. If it crosses 90%, then they have a weapons grade uranium. So Iran is working day and night so that this uranium crosses 90% and they can get a nuclear weapon. Now, in this context, Donald Trump with Benjamin Netanyahu might use the Air Force to dismantle the nuclear installations in Iran. So Iran's back is broken, Houthis have gone, Hamas has gone, Hezbollah has gone, axis of resistance is gone, if not gone, very much 80 to 90% dismantled. Now Iran, the 2024 year was not good for them. After these three, Bashar al-Assad has also gone, so their influence in Syria is also over. So in this context, Iran is suffering. Outside, externally, they have suffered. Their major leaders have been killed by Israel or the American strikes. There have been strikes by the Israeli Air Force also. And the topmost Supremo Khamenei, he is just counting his heads. There are, many verified news, I would say, verified news by basically geopolitical experts that America and Israel might be trying to change this entire top management of Iran, including the Supremo Khamenei. This is what they are trying to do. If it happens or not, only time will tell. But Iran currently is struggling diplomatically, economically. The inflation is very high in the country. People are ready to revolt. If you remember that there was a revolution, there was the women in Iran, they were against hijab. If you remember that issue which had happened. So Iran is struggling economically, people are against the top Supremo Khamenei, and defense wise also things are not looking good for them. So if you see the case of Iran, internal challenges are very high post Israeli attacks. Reduced pressure on Taliban opens diplomatic avenues for India, because right now Iran does not have the strength and time and the money to talk to Taliban, to engage with Taliban. And this gives an opportunity to India, which India is using. Second comes Russia. Russia might be interested in talking to Taliban because Russia is engaged in Russia-Ukraine war, and their focus would be to get more territories from Ukraine. And once the Donald Trump takes power, a ceasefire happens, and in the ceasefire, the majority of the deal goes in favor with Russia. Third is your China. China is the one which India need to be very wary, because China is investing in Afghanistan, and obviously they are investing a lot, and even the Afghan Taliban is close to China. Now China might use the Afghanistan route. They might use the Afghanistan route and use the Afghanistan route through Iran for Chabahar port. If they want to use the Chabahar port, because CPEC is definitely not working right now. So if they want to use the Chabahar port, they might want to talk to India. So maybe India, Iran and Afghanistan and China might be a good relationship developing in future, but only time will tell. But we need to be aware about China. Now US, Donald Trump is coming back, so potential US re-engagement Taliban could alter dynamics, time will tell. So once Donald Trump takes charge on 20th of January, next 20 days would be turmoil in international geopolitics. He's already saying that, Canada should join. Recently he tweeted, rather he put a post on X in which he made that the Canada is the 51st state of America. And then he's also planning to buy Greenland. So every day you wake up, he's coming up with different news, tweeting differently. Elon Musk has recently tweeted that, rather put on X that Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of UK, should be behind bars because of that grooming gangs. This also we had covered in the Daily Decodes day before yesterday. So things are, very much heating up. And recently, one of the Indian politicians had written today that, the articles, the Britishers were saying, basically the Labour Party, that the grooming gangs are of the Asian origin. But the Indian politician has said that grooming gangs are not of the Asian origin. They are Pakistani people. Don't blame the entire Asia. So she had tweeted this and Elon Musk had said true. So a lot of things are happening geopolitically. The Elon Musk is also interfering in a lot in Europe. So I think from 20th of January till 20th of February, the newspaper would be full of international news. I'm 100% I'm telling you this is going to happen. Okay. So, India economic and development, India has invested around $3 billion investment in Afghan infrastructure. Taliban acknowledges of this productivity of Indian projects and continued Indian involvement. Strategic timing, India decision to engage stems from the fear of losing its influence, specifically, fear of losing its influence in the terms of as Chinese are growing and American presence in Afghanistan. And I think it's the right step also that we might have lost these kind of chances in the past, but it does not make sense to keep repeating the mistake. So humanitarian interest also, if you see, this is the Chabar port, this is the one I am talking about. So China, see, CPEC is not working. Okay, more than $30-40 billion have been invested by Pakistan, by China in Pakistan, thinking Gwadar will be the answer to the Malacca dilemma, but it is not being the answer to Malacca dilemma. China might try to invest from this, from this corridor and going from Afghanistan towards Chabar. So, focusing on healthcare trade through Chabar port. Let's see what China will do. But in terms of Chabar, it is also important for India to connect with Afghanistan for many other things. Okay, so challenges, human rights is an important issue for women and minorities, which India needs to talk with Taliban, Afghan Taliban, and regional competition will come from China. So Pakistan is not a major threat right now, but Pakistan and China combined can be a threat, specifically the Chinese investment. This is something which we need to think about and look deeper into it. So the UPSC mains question is, discuss the strategic importance of India's engagement with Taliban government in Afghanistan amid involving regional geopolitics. So moving towards the next important UPSC prelims impact. So today we are covering the Southern Californian wildfires 2025. See, why this is in the news, that these wildfires should not happen right now because it is winters. This is an unusual timing. It is occurring in winter. Wildfires occur in dry season, occur in summer. They don't occur in winters, but this is occurring in winter. So this again tells you the effect of climate change. So location and impact, wildfires in Los Angeles have killed 5 people, displaced over 130,000 and burnt celebrity homes. For that, I think the Oscar nomination announcement has also been postponed by 2 days and many celebrities' homes have also been burnt. So this has happened at your Southern California wildfires. Now, wet weather followed by dry weather. So previously 2 seasons you got wet weathers. So the winters of 2022 and winters of 2023 were exceptionally wet. They should have been normal wet, but they were exceptionally wet. So this dry, this cold and dry, this wet and dry has happened. So exceptionally wet leading to sprouting of trees and shrubs. So since they were exceptionally wet, the growth of trees and shrubs was high. Please understand, they were exceptionally wet and because of this leading to sprouting of trees and shrubs. So good. But now what happened was that this season, it was a dry season, and these trees and shrubs, they became dry, which is very good. Once they become dry, dry plants, dry leaves, they become fodder for fire. So current winter, Southern California is experiencing its driest winter on record with negligible rainfall. So 2022, 2023, high rainfall, okay, high wet condition. Current winter, absolutely different, opposite condition. So this has turned vegetation into dry kindling, fueling the fires. So this same sprouting of trees and shrubs, and basically this vegetation, which was good for 2022 and 2023, they have become fodder for fires, and this has been the major problem. So NASA observation since October, the Los Angeles airport recorded only 0.03 inches of the rain, the driest start to the water year since 1944. So 2022, 2023 exceptional rainfall, and 2024 exceptionally low rainfall compared to 1944. So again, these are the impact of climate change, there is no doubt about it. Now there is one important wind which is associated with this, that is called Santa Ana winds. Okay, that is your Santa Ana winds. So Santa Ana winds common in the region are usually strong this year, intensifying, spreading the flames. So this wind is also one of the major reason for wildfire, because they are pushing the wildfire from one place to the next. So these are high pressure system in the Great Basin, past winds pushing the winds westward towards the coast, descending over the Sierra Nevada and Santa Ana mountains, and because of its dry nature, the winds are taking this fire to the different places also. Okay, so this has been the effect. Winds lose humidity, heats up, they gain speed as they pass through the mountain ranges, become fast, dry, warm. Fast, dry, warm. This is the deadly cocktail for wildfires. Fast, dry, warm. Fast, dry, warm. This is the cocktail which you need for your wildfires, and this is exactly what this particular wind, Santa Ana winds, is giving. The combination fuels the wildfire, spreading flames rapidly across vegetation, power cables and wooden structures, and those vegetation which is dry in nature increases the wildfire, and this is the reason for this Californian 2025. And obviously climate change is exacerbating the extreme weather events. So the sum of the reasons, or rather the Santa Ana winds, low rainfall, earlier 2022, 2023 wet, then dry conditions, Santa Ana winds condition, and plus climate change are pushing for these wildfires. Let's move towards a prelims question. The wildfires occurred in a season traditionally considered the peak of Californian wildfire season. No. This is what we have just studied. This is a winter season, it should not happen. So this is a wrong statement. Santa Ana winds contribute to the intensification and spread of wildfire in Southern California. Correct. Rising global temperature have shortened Californians wildfire season over the past 2 decades. Rising global temperature have shortened Californians wildfire season over the past 2 decades. No, it's the second statement only. That's a wrong. Californian wildfire has lengthened, and the current fires occurred in winter, not a traditional wildfire season. So this has not become shortened, rather this has increased. So 1 and 3 are incorrect. Second is the correct statement. B is the correct answer. So I've told you about this also. 15th of January and 10th of January these 2 courses are starting. Pragati is basically for your KPSC mains preparation, and Pratyush is for your KPSC mains test series. For all details, you can call on the number 8069 40 52 06. Okay, now let's move towards editorial. Okay, so this editorial is related to China, basically China's long game in Africa. So China, obviously China has done a lot of investment in Africa, but they are also thinking intellectually. Okay, they are also thinking that who will be the future political leaders on Africa, and from this perspective they are also investing in schools of and the political thought process of Africa. So China is steadily expanding influence in Africa, we already know. Now they have already done targeted investment, diplomatic efforts, educational initiatives, that they've already done. What they are focusing is on Mwalimu Julius Nyerere Leadership School in Tanzania. So they are creating leadership schools, and these leadership schools will follow the Chinese leadership model from China. They will also have visits to China, that how Chinese leadership models work. So basically there's a theory that, one theory says that that we always want to produce people who have a similar thought process like us. So this is what exactly China is trying to do, that the future political leaders which will come in Africa, they need to have a thought process like Chinese thought process. And if they have similar Chinese thought process, there would be a lot of parallel, and the friendship between Chinese thought process or Chinese leaders and the African leaders would be very high. So it exemplifies China's strategy to promote its governance model, deepen ties with the African political elites. So in 2022, China established Mwalimu Julius Nyerere Leadership School at a cost of $40 million. The school trains future political leaders from countries with historical ties with China, including South Africa, Mozambique, Angola, Namibia, Zimbabwe and Tanzania. Please understand, these are the important political elites of Africa, and political elites are the ones which will determine the future of Africa also. So these nations ruled by liberation parties from the former liberation movement of Southern Africa, an informal coalition of addressing governance challenges. So China is not only investing in trade and other things, they are also investing in those people who will become future leaders of Africa. And if the future leader he has been trained by Chinese methods, or he has been trained by Chinese teacher, obviously they will have some kind of connection, some kind of thought process, and some kind of bonhomie, and some kind of friendship and thought process which is linked to China. For example, if I am coming from A, B, C, D school, which is my alma mater, always I would be obliged towards that. And similarly, they will also be obliged towards the Chinese thought process. So school is broader strategy to embed China's governance model in Africa, emphasizing centrality of ruling parties like Communist Party of China, and this is the same model they want to develop, that even Africa starts following this process. So see, China is trying to now re-engineer African thought process and African leadership also. Okay, and by now they have ties with more than 100 political parties in this. So China has historically supported African independence movement, infrastructure, industrial project, but now they're also funding Kenya's foreign ministry headquarters, Zimbabwe's Herbert Shitepo School of Ideology. So changing the ideology, changing the political leaders, because China is not only thinking about current political leaders which support China, but even the future ones coming after 10 years or 20 years. So in hindsight and from a future perspective, this is a wonderful strategy which is being adopted by China. So African 51 countries hold significant weight in international relations, making the continent a key player in China's vision of Sino-centric world order. So China is working on this Sino-centric world order, in which the world over, or the major continents start working as per the Chinese thought process. See, this is very similar to America. America always used to talk about capitalism. They still talk about capitalism, that capitalism is the way of living. Through capitalism only you can become a developed nation. Now China is talking about that we are also a powerful nation, we are also a rich nation, or if not completely developed, we are on that way. So you can follow our model also, our thought process also. So this is a kind of soft power they are using, not hard power. They are not hard power, they obviously use, not selling weapons and everything. They are using their soft power. Americans and Europeans have always been great on soft power. Even now China is also working on this. So China relationship with Africa spans decade, rooted in support of liberation movement. Now they are taking it to the next level, adapting to political shift, promoting stability and governance in all these regions. China is supporting. So China nurtures ties not only with ruling parties, but they are also having relationship with opposition in these countries. If the opposition regime comes, they are also friends with that. China is very smart. Even in Myanmar, they are doing the same thing. They are close to military junta also, they are close to rebels also. This is how China plays, very, very smart. So they are doing the same thing in Africa also. And China's governance model based on centralized party control is appealing to many African nations which are looking for political stability. So in engagement, Africa represents strategic blend of diplomacy, economic investment and political influence and reshaping Africa's governance. So rest you can go through the PDF once you can download it. So examine the role of China in shaping Africa's political and governance structures. Discuss the implication of China's growing influence in global geopolitics. Obviously, China is dominating the global geopolitics and there is no doubt about that. Sridhar, 3 days PDF didn't available. Tomorrow I didn't take a session and rest I will ask the team to upload the PDF if they have not been uploaded. Okay. So probably by tomorrow it should be uploaded. In Extra Mile, you can go through the right to food and struggle with PDS. And you can also follow ICANN 2.0. So thank you very much. We'll meet up tomorrow at the same time. Till the time I'm in Hyderabad, the sessions would be in evening. Once we reach Bangalore, so probably by the mid next week, we'll start again in the morning. Thank you very much. I hope you did like the lecture. Please like the lecture, share the lecture and do press the bell icon. And some of you people are coming very less. Please again come. The lectures have started. Thank you very much and Jai Hind.